Opposite of a Shogun here, and there has been no shortage of news when it comes to Bryan Kohberger over the last couple of weeks. It's like every single day I wake up and there's just new information sitting there waiting for me, waiting on me to report it. And of course, we've heard from all types of experts, people who I don't necessarily even want to label experts. And is it just me? Or have the experts gone a little crazy with this case, thinking that Bryan Kohberger left things behind on purpose, pointing the fingers at family members of the Idaho 4? It's gotten kind of weird, but hey, these cases always get weird. But we've also heard from friends, classmates. It seems like everybody has crawled out of the woodworks to go over a story that they had with Bryan Kohberger, to tell how, to talk about how Bryan Kohberger made them feel and all of that good stuff. So we've heard so much. But now, things are really starting to get juicy. Because some of the information that I've been really curious about is finally starting to trickle out. We now know some of the items that the investigators found inside of Bryan's apartment. In fact, they seized several different items from Bryan's apartment, and they collected some evidence. And let's just say, things are not looking good for Bryan right now. Now, I'm going to dive into this article and give you all a better idea of what's going on here. We're going to go over every item that they collected. But first, if you're interested, I am giving away $100 at the end of the week, probably towards the start of next week. All you have to do is download the Swagit app and follow me on the Swagit app. It's that simple. It's free. Download the app, follow me, you're automatically entered. And you only have a couple of days left to do this because we are about to give away $100 sometime early next week, probably around Tuesday or Wednesday. So go ahead and make sure you're following me on Swagit. But let's go ahead and dive into this article. New search warrant records detail investigators' efforts to link the suspect Bryan Kohberger to the crime scene, but no weapons were seized in the search. Shortly after arresting a student from a nearby university in connection with the gruesome slaying of 4 University of Idaho students, investigators seized a number of items from the suspect's apartment, including a computer tower, possible hair strands, a disposable glove, and items that had red or brown stains, according to records released Wednesday. In the search warrant documents, the authorities said one item was a collection of dark red spotting, while a pillow had reddish-brown stain. Investigators also collected receipts, mattress covers, and the dust container of a vacuum cleaner. I want to stop right there before I go forward. So, who knows what these stains came from? But if you look at how this crime was committed, how gruesome it was, it would be damn near impossible for Bryan to get out of there without some blood on him. I don't really want to be too graphic here, and I don't like diving into these details much, but that's the reality of the situation. This was a gruesome scene. I mean, you've probably seen the pictures. They got blood dripping out the walls outside. I can only imagine that Bryan had to have had some of this blood on his clothes, on him, and shoes. Of course, we know the shoes, but I mean, did Bryan properly dispose of that evidence? If he did this, did he properly dispose of that evidence? Was Bryan dumb enough to have a pillow or a shirt or anything laying around his house that had bloodstains on it? I mean, apparently he had something with stains on it. I don't know where it came from. Wouldn't it be crazy if it turned out that it belonged to someone else, not the Idaho 4 and not Bryan? That'd be weird too. But let's go ahead and go back into this article. The search warrant application said that the rental house near campus, where the 4 victims were found in November, had a significant amount of blood from the victims, including spatter and cast-off blood, which results when blood flies from a moving object. Investigators said they believed it was likely that any unaliver at the scene would have had blood evidence on his body or his clothing. They said they hoped to find trace evidence in the suspect's apartment. They did not describe the results of any testing in the documents. Investigators in their search warrant application said that they had hoped to find hair strands that could link the suspect, Bryan Kohberger, to the scene of the crime, either through the victims or through a dog that was present at the house where the killings occurred. Police said one of the items collected from Mr. Kohberger's apartment was a possible animal hair strand. The document says that the police also searched Mr. Kohberger's office at Washington State University, but they did not seize any items in that search. Okay, so we know they took the computer. If Bryan was smart, he didn't search anything that could be linked to this crime. I know there's another case going on right now where a husband allegedly unalived his wife, and the dude's internet searches are insane. He literally searched step by step, like, how do you dismember someone? Can you get charged without a body? And it's like, dude, you totally incriminated yourself with your search history. When it comes to Bryan, I mean, we all would like to believe that he was smarter than that because of his education, but people slip up and people do stupid things. We all know that it looks like Bryan slipped up, right? So who knows what they will find on that computer? At the very least, even if Bryan didn't search anything off the wall, I wonder if they will find that Bryan was looking at one of these victims on social media. Now, we talked about the stains. I don't know what those stains are from. I don't think it's Kool-Aid or ketchup. Who knows what those stains are from? Would Bryan be that dumb to just have stained clothing or anything in his house? We've heard from the neighbors that he would be up all night vacuuming and cleaning. So I would think that he wouldn't just keep discarded clothing with these victims' blood on it in his home. But anything is possible. So they're going to try to find out where those stains came from. But one of the biggest things here to me is these hair strands. And they believe they found a possible animal hair strand. Could that strand of hair belong to Murphy? If you don't know who Murphy is Kaylee's dog. Now, if you look at Murphy, he's like, one of those curly-haired type of dogs. Is it possible that Bryan accidentally carried an animal hair home with him from the Moscow house? Is it possible that in the process, one of Murphy's hairs got on Bryan? I think that is very possible. Murphy has a lot of hair. Anything that Murphy touches or lays on, guaranteed to leave some hair behind. Anyone in that house probably at any moment had some of Murphy's hairs on them. So, I think it's very possible that throughout this process, Bryan got Murphy's hair on him as well. And maybe that's the hair they found. As far as I know, Bryan Kohberger didn't have any pets. I mean, as far as I know. Also, it doesn't seem like Bryan Kohberger was the the most social person in the world, so I don't know if he would like have friends with pets over at his house and stuff like that. I tried to make it clear to people, though, that Bryan wasn't as sheltered as what some people make him out to be, because Bryan did have somewhat of a social life. But at the end of the day, I don't think he was doing that much. So this strand of hair could be from any animal in the world. But if it's from Murphy, that's another thing that ties Bryan to this crime. Or at least it places Bryan somewhere where Murphy was. So this can and probably will be a big, big deal. Now, we don't know where these stains came from yet. We don't know who this hair belongs to yet. Those are things that we will probably have to wait to find out. But I'm glad that we even got this information. You know what I mean? Because they don't have to necessarily put all of this stuff out there. But when the whole entire nation is so invested in a case, I think it's good sometimes that they do give people a little bit of information, because people start worrying, they go crazy. Like for the longest, people thought that this was going to turn into a cold case. But it turns out they had everything together the entire time. You know what I mean? So who knows what will come of this, but at the very least, we know what they took out of his apartment. I saw some pictures of the things they were taking out of his apartment. It's more than what they talked about here. You know, they talked about looking through the dustpan or whatever. They talked about this hair that was found. They talked about the stains on the pillow, bed sheets, and the computer. But I think they took other items out of his home as well. So who knows what they'll find. But let me know what you think down in the comments below. While you're down there, hit the thumbs up button, hit the subscribe button, ring that notification bell. And I'll talk to you all in the next video.